Welcome, everybody. Good evening. So excited. This is a very soon, very soon. When you get in here, drop in the comment section with how you follow. Let me be sure that you're here with me. After I've started already, share with your friends, share with your family, share it everywhere. Let others know that we're here already. Join me in praising this song. I love this favorite song. Like, oh my God, these pieces are elevating. I also think this is all about when it comes to praise. I also think this is the BYH TRIBE end of the year. So this is Thanksgiving all the way. Thanking God for the year 2023 as we gather as a family. And we are coming together today in this thank you, Lord, for all you've done for us and our families, our loved ones, our friends, relatives, every one of us. There's one million and one thing from us. That's why we're here. So the party is party of Thanksgiving. We are grateful and we want to say that gratefulness to God. We bring events today. So we invite everybody to the mobile, share it in their WhatsApp status, every status, everyone that knows anything. Yeah, have it. So let everybody know that something special is happening there. We're going to be putting more blessings from God, from the people that we're going to be having in the next one now. And that will help us to show our gratitude to God. So as you get in there, make sure you're sharing this event everywhere. Let people know that we are here. We giving our gratitude to God for 2022. And we are getting ready for His blessings in 2023. This is the so this event we'll be having speakers speaking on different things. Our theme is family stability because we realize that so many things that are obstructions to the stability of families. But we're just taking a few of them to have conversations, within the next one. One of that is photos, the first one is talking about photos, the second is demand. Some of the things that constitute lots of chaos in the family, how can we begin to things all our finances, our couples, so that it doesn't affect our parenting, it doesn't jeopardize our relationship with our parents. And of course, I think it's people parenting together as couples, how do we maximize that um, ability for parenting and children together? Some people say, I don't want to talk about, I don't want to do that. Some people say, no, why doesn't you get interested in all of these things that you're sharing? So how do I get that joining this, oneness and working together? So while our speaker is there, I will be bringing you in 1 minute. We're bringing him in, and we are starting discussion already.
Sorry about that. So the first speaker is here already, and we're bringing him in so that he takes the stage immediately. Our first speaker will be, introducing himself briefly to us while we share everything that he's gonna be talking about in our closets, and then we wait for others because in a very short while all of these things will be done here. Hello, Jude.
Yes, can you hear me?
Hello, JD. Good to have you here.
Thank you. Please confirm if you can
Can you
hear
hear
me.
me?
Yes, confirm if you can hear me.
Yes, I can. Welcome.
Okay,
Thank you so much for being here.
it's my
Thank you, thank you,
pleasure.
thank you.
Yes, it's my
Can,
pleasure.
can you hear me?
Yes.
Good. So, Jude will be talking to us on purposeful parenting and how we can begin to, think about the purpose we have as parents in unison with our children. So, without taking much of our time, Jedi, you just tell us a bit about you in 1 second, and then the floor will be all yours to take up the session immediately. Thank you for joining. Thank you for being here, and thank you for doing this for this community. God bless you. So the floor is all yours. I'll be at the background with my writing notes and taking notes in all of the things you'll be sharing with us today. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, everyone. Um, my name is Jude Ayua Dena. Um, I'm from Benue State, Nigeria. Um, I'm a lawyer and presently a Master of Theological Studies student at Harvard University. And it's my pleasure to be here with you. Thank you so much, Sister Vivian, for inviting me again. Uh, I've known Vivian for more than 10 years now, yes, because we started back in Abuja. And I'm so excited by the work she's doing in Proactive Parenting Academy. And I'm happy that I associate with that project. Okay, so about me in one sentence, what I do is to help people find purpose and live fulfilling lives. That is just me. So everything I do is talk about purpose. And in whatever way I'm living my life is to lead people on that path of discovering themselves and living in a way that will give them meaning and satisfaction to themselves and also people around them. So straight into the topic, since I have barely 10 to 15 minutes to talk, I'm talking about purposeful parenting. I want to begin with this quote by Miles Monroe that when the purpose of a thing is not known, abuse is inevitable. That means that if you don't know the purpose of what you are doing, you are certainly going to abuse it. Um, so, in relation to the topic of purposeful parenting, the first question is, why are you a parent? Um, Understanding parenthood will help you and help your children's life because purpose in itself simply means the reason, and in other words, intention, motive. It simply answers the question why. So if you cannot answer why, you cannot move on to how. So if you don't answer the question of why are you a parent, you cannot know how to be a parent. Okay. So understanding parenthood, there's no need going into any theoretical definitions of what a parent is or who a parent is. And simply, if you have a child, that is biologically you are a parent. But parenting can go beyond also being a biological concept, in the sense that other people who come to you for guidance, for mentorship, for advice, and so on, are also your children, although not biological. And so, parenting or parenthood is you being a model, a teacher, and a mentor that people who are growing up under you will find inspiration to live their own lives. So you guide them by your own words, by your own actions, living an exemplary life. That is what parenting is. Now, talking about the purpose of parenting, like I said before, if you don't know why, you will miss it. So, first of all, define why you are a parent. Because if you have that definition of why you are a parent, whenever you are about to take any actions regarding parenting, you remember the reason. So, are you living in line with that reason of you being a parent? I like drawing inspiration from the Bible, and I believe that even if you are not a Christian, you'll find inspiration also from the Bible. Now, I want to make reference to some scriptures. The first is Psalm 127 from verse 4 to 5. It says, children are blessings from God. Happy is the man that has plenty of them. It is like arrows in the quiver. So if you have plenty of these arrows, that you will not be ashamed when your enemies face you at the gates. Another scripture I want to make reference to, and also not very particularly quoting them, but examples of parenting in the Bible, both those that failed and those that succeeded. I want to cite the examples of the prophet Samuel, the priest Eli, and also King David. Let's start with Eli. Eli was the high priest, but it's recorded in the Bible in the first book of Samuel that his children were wayward. Now, as I mentioned about the meaning of parenting earlier on, talking about you being a biological parent and also acting as a mentor or advisor to other persons can also mean that you are a parent. In this sense, I can say Eli was a parent, being a priest to the whole of Israel, which he was doing well. He knew his own purpose there. That is, guiding them to be in alignment with God. But then now, being a parent to his own biological children, he failed because he did not realize why he was a parent to his own biological children. He rather focused more on being a priest to the whole of Israel. So you must always remember that these children you have, remember Psalm 127, are from God. Why did God give you these children? So that you help them grow in his own wisdom and knowledge to do his will. That is purpose number one. To train your children in the way of the Lord. Remember Proverbs. Bring up a child in the way he should be, and when he grows up, he will not depart from it. So the purpose is for you to help a child grow psychologically, mentally, spiritually, financially, academically, and in every other wise. Help your child grow. Help your child become a responsible human being in the society. Now, when you think about children who are maybe stealing, going about clubbing, partying, and not showing any signs of seriousness in academics or other aspects of life, how do you feel? Do you think that they didn't have parents? So is it about them not having parents or the role of parenthood? So one can have parents and still be wayward. So it is about the role that parenthood has played in their own life that matters most. And it is only a parent who knows the purpose of who they are and why they are parents that will be able to fulfill this role appropriately. Also, the example of Samuel. Samuel was a prophet, and it is recorded that no word which he spoke from the Lord fell to the ground. That means everything he said that God asked him to say came to pass. Now, he was also a good parent to the people of Israel by guiding Israel in the way of the Lord. But even here, it is recorded that his children were being wayward. They did not succeed him as prophets. It is the same thing that happened in the example of Eli that happened to Samuel. So you must pay attention to the fact that you must bring up your children in a way that God desires. You must bring up your children in a way that they will be useful to the society they live in, that they will bring happiness and joy on the faces of people. So it begins with you paying attention to that purpose. And remember, if you don't realize it, if you don't know it, you will not pay attention to it. So right now is for you to ask yourself, how am I raising my children? What do I want them to become? What will I define as me being a successful parent? It goes beyond just, let's say, calling yourself daddy or mommy, or being the one that buys Christmas clothes, being the one that shows up at the graduation party, and when your child is receiving plenty awards, you are very happy. Yes, in this last example, if your child is receiving plenty awards, it means you did your part. But what I'm saying is that parenting is a long-term goal, because the idea of purpose itself is not momentary. Purpose is eternal. Purpose is forever. As you are born, you have a purpose you live with until you die. To show an example that everything that God creates is meant to last, you as a human being that God created with this purpose, you are meant to live in accordance with the purpose until you transit into eternity. Now, an example from, let's say, the sun. Of course, every day the sun, you will see it rise and set. That is what it does every day. Also, by uh, scientifically speaking, releasing the rays, giving the light, providing heat, helping living organisms to grow and live well. It is a purpose that as long as the earth continues, the sun will keep fulfilling. But a human being even lives beyond the earth. So why I'm going into this analysis is to bring to your consciousness that purpose is eternal. And if you are not raising your child to live in line with this eternal purpose, then you are abusing God's purpose of you being a parent. The last example, David, and then I will conclude because my time is 5 minutes more. Yes. So King David was a very mighty man. He raised many other mighty soldiers, 30 mighty men of David. And in his own family, there was chaos. One of his sons had carnal knowledge of one of his daughters. The other of his son raised up and took the life of his other son. Later on in life, his son will rise up to overthrow him as king. So the point I'm making is he was being a king, a responsible father to Israel, yet his family was in chaos. Why? Because he did not realize the purpose of him being a parent, a father to his own children, his own family. Why didn't he raise children that would be exactly like him or even more? Why did he raise soldiers outside his family, but he could not raise soldiers within his own family? So as you think about all of these examples, what I want you to bear in mind is that first, in reference to Psalm 127 that I made earlier, God gave you children for a purpose. He gives you children for a purpose, and that purpose is that you bring them up in his own ways. Secondly, that they should be very responsible and grow up to be useful to people in the society, put smiles on the faces of people, and that if you do not realize this purpose, then you have not realized the role of you being a parent. So I hope to conclude here, and I'm confident that at least you now have the consciousness of what purpose means in parenthood or in parenting. So if there are questions, I can quickly respond to.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much for this awesome session on purpose. Um, I know that parents listening to you this evening will have an idea of what purpose means in parenting and purposeful parenting means. I'm even coming up with my own question because many times we think purpose or we narrow it down, many parents narrow it down to um, that thing that they think or they want their child to become, and that's where we keep purpose and that's where we stop. But you said something very interesting. Purpose is not momentary. Purpose is not is eternal. Like it's a long-term thing. And purpose could come in seasons, you know,
Correct.
and in those seasons, that phase could just finish and that's it for that time, and you're moving to the next season. So many parents do not understand this, and so we just stay in the place where we we just want the children to, this is how I want it, this is where you should be, this is what you should study, this is, and so we many times, you know even confuse the children the more with the way we are raising them, because you said we need to raise them the way God wants them to be raised.
Yes.
So the confusion that we bring in many times is we want them to be who we want them to be, not how they were designed. And that's why we break them at some point.
True.
So, in 1 minute, can you also tell us if purpose is eternal, what is that one thing that a parent should do in this time, in this time where we are living? What is that one thing that a parent needs to help him or herself in trying to understand the child's purpose? What is that thing you should be focusing on? What is that thing you should be giving attention to, and not just being you're just getting knowledge and that's it. You know,
Good.
in
Good.
1 minute you can just give us that.
All right. Thank you very much, and thank you for further explaining. I'm sure that I made some sense. Okay, so what parents should be paying attention to in the lives of their children is this: everyone is born with certain abilities, potential, skills, talents, and it is not these abilities or skills or talents that are your purpose, but what you use them for that is your purpose. If someone is to be a leader, it is the skills they need that will help them become that good leader. If someone is an artist, it is the skill and what they are doing with that artwork that translates to their purpose. So, what parents should do is pay attention to your child's potentials, help them discover them, nurture them, and then guide them on what they will do with those potentials. It can be singing, it can be uh, um, drawing, it can be dancing, it can be running. But what are they doing with those potential? What are they doing with those skills? It is not for you to say you must be an engineer or you must be an architect because you know how to draw cartoon. You must now become someone. No, let them live. Let your own is to guide, is not to dictate. So pay attention in helping them nurture it until they grow up to realize what they will do with these things. Don't say you are going to be a lawyer. I've already bought your wig and gown. If, once you turn 20, you are going to social place this. No, help the child to make up and decide based on their potentials what they will do with it. And remember, even the child and the children, they are not deciding based on what they want, but based on what God wants. So the underlying factor again is teach your children to pay attention to. Now you are the one paying attention to those at potential on their behalf. By the time they come of age, teach them to now consciously pay attention to it by themselves, and then always remind them that you will be what God wants you to be, because purpose is not self-assigned, it's assigned by God. So help them to have the consciousness that they will pay attention in alignment with God wants. Okay.
Thank you so much, Jude. I'm so grateful that you honored this invitation and you're here with us despite your tight schedules. We are grateful. Thank you. Thank you so much. So, people, if you can hear me and you heard Jude with all that he shared with us this evening, send the emojis of love. We just shower him with love. That's the only thanks we can say to him for taking our time to do this with us and share with us this night. Send him emojis of love. Say thank you, thank you, thank you to him. And we hope to have him, in many other sessions we'll be having. Of course, in the Build Your Home Tribe, the parents of the Build Your Home Tribe knows that they will be seeing more of these faces, often and on in their master classes and webinars, end of the month webinar. So thank you so much, Jude, for doing this. We are grateful. It's a pleasure having you. Thank you. And we want to tell you that we will call you again and again and again and again. Thank you so, so much.
Thank you so much. It's my pleasure. Bye
God
for now.
bless you. So
Yeah.
do have an amazing day. It's day over there and it's night
Yes.
over here where we are. So have an amazing day.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
So, people, we are going into the second session, and our next speaker, in fact, I call her the powerhouse. We are bringing in our next speaker now. She will be, I don't even want to talk about her. She will tell us a brief about her, but she will be sharing on us on finances in marriage and what we need to do. One, two, three, four things we need to do to be able to work together as parents so that it doesn't affect our finances, helps us grow in our parenting journey. So make welcome um, Chiaka. I don't want to talk about her, like I said. She will be telling us about herself. I only call her a powerhouse. Hello, sis.
Isis, good
Can you hear
evening. I hope
me?
you can hear. Yes, I can hear you. Please confirm that you can hear me.
Loud and clear. So, people, if you can hear Chiaka, please let's know in the comment section that you can hear her. Let's know in the comment section that you can hear her. Welcome to this session. Thank you so very much for doing this. I told the parents that are watching already that I am not going to say anything about Chiaka. In 1 minute, Chiaka is going to tell us about herself. I personally call her a powerhouse. Like, you can't listen to her and remain the same. So let me not talk about her. Chiaka will tell us in 1 minute about herself, and then she dives it. The floor will be all hers. My notepad and my pen is waiting for her. Like, I don't like missing out in anything she says. You will confirm that this night. Welcome again.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Vivian, for having me. Thank you and welcome everybody. There isn't much to say about myself. My name is Chaka. I am a certified marriage mentor and relationship coach. I love love. I help couples and who are married and those intending to be married to have heaven on earth marriages. Marriage doesn't need to be that hard. It doesn't need to, we don't need to be suffering and fighting. It can be easier, it can be lovely, it can be whole. Okay, so that is me. Um, my passions primarily lie in faith, marriage, and relationship because I'm a Christian. I give faith-based counsel, but everybody is welcome to listen to me. Funny enough, the two important things, my two most favorite topics to talk about, one is money and one is marriage. And today I'm going to put them together. Okay, so I have 15 or 20 minutes to do this, and I will make it as simple as possible. So, family and money. So, let me just start by saying that money is a big deal. Like, you can't brush it off. Money is a real serious big deal. So, when the Bible says that you can't serve God and money, it's a literal statement. Anytime you make money the most important thing in your life, you will go off the moral reign. You'll become ungodly. You do all sorts of things. And look at our society. Anybody who is overtly concerned with the need to make money is almost a crazy person. They are doing all kinds of heinous, godless, and horrible things just to make money. So money is very important. When it comes to marriage, money is consistently listed as one of the top two reasons for divorce. High up there with infidelity, with communication. I mean, it's consistently the one top two, three reasons for divorce. So this is a big deal. Can we make money work in marriage? The answer is yes. Does it have to be with fighting and with quarreling? The answer is no. Okay, so I'm going to share some very simple things. Please, if you have your notes, please take notes. Psychologists, money specialists, finance people have consistently said that money is 80% behavior and 20% numbers. What that means is that with money, you have to fix your mind first. Your mind is the powerhouse. If you don't fix your mind, everything else is lost. So if you have a faulty money mindset, if you have an ideology like popular ones, like my money is my money, his money is our money, and all those kind of things, you can't win with money in a marriage. Okay, so I'll just move ahead. I have maybe about 12, 11, 12, maybe 13 things at most I want to share with you. Okay, that would help you win with money in your marriage. First and foremost, know this: you can win. People always think that the lack of money is the biggest problem. No, money mindsets and clashing ideologies is usually the biggest problem. So let's start. Number one thing I want to tell you is that marriage is for teamwork. You're working together, not against each other. It is not a competition. Never, ever make it a competition. The moment you make it a competition, you have lost. Which is why I worry about statements like, what does she bring to the table? What does he bring to the table? Where people think that you are more important based on how much money you bring. We'll deal with that also. Those are worrisome statements. Remember, your marriage is about teamwork. Do not let money divide you. Yes. Money is not important enough to divide you and your spouse. Don't give it that power. Number two thing I want to say, money is a tool. Mhm. Remember this: money is not a person, money is not a goal, money is not a destination. Money is only a tool, which means you only use it to do things. Okay, and that is where you should keep it. Money is a tool. Remember this, never forget it. Money is a tool. What does this mean that money is a tool? You use money. Like somebody said, I don't know who said that. I think it was Rick Warren that says that you use money and you love people. As soon as you flip it and start to use people and love money, everything goes haywire. So remember, money is a tool. It's a great servant. In other words, you can send it on errands. It's a lousy master. You can never let money control you because it's just a tool. All it is a tool. Money is a servant, great servant, horrible master. Remember, we love people, we use money. We do not use people, use our spouse, our family, our children, and love money. We love people. Okay, and I'll still talk more about that. Money is a tool. Keep that in mind. Number three, if you and your spouse will stop fighting about money, that is not a business class. I'm not teaching you how to triple your income, or that's not this class. This is me talking about behavior. I'm not a business coach. I'm a marriage coach. So I think primarily teach about behaviors and how people can move from point A to point B in their mind, shift their ideologies, break strongholds, long-standing mindsets, so that their marriages can prosper. Know your money mindset. Do you have a tendency to spend more? Are you a saver? Do you not like talking about money? How was money even how was money even talked about? If you grew up in deprivation, you would have maybe think of money as money. Oh, this one we have seen money. Let's just manage. Oh, there's no money in the country. Notice that as you're saying there's no money in the country, if you have grown up with a spouse who grew up in affluence and comfort, they may come from a place where they're not agitated about money. Okay, so what is your money mindset? How do you see money? Who is your largest influence on your mind for money? Are you always scared about money? Are you always apprehensive about money? Do you have a tendency to hoard? Do you spend so much because you feel I've deserved it? You only live once, so let's spend it. Where is it coming from? Was it a family upbringing? Was it a societal upbringing? Was it the community you grew up in? Did everybody spend? Did nobody ever save? Or do you believe that life is so hard? All you should do is save all you get and never spend anything to make yourself happy. Okay, so know your money mindset. This is very important. And when you know it, embrace it. Say it to yourself. The next thing is just as important. Honor that you are different. The chances that your spouse is different from you are very high. And guess what? That is absolutely okay. Give me a minute, please. Just a minute. Okay, I'm back. So once you know your money mindset, the next focus is to know your spouse also and honor their differences. So we have a tendency to say one is better than the other. Let's just take the issue of savers and spenders, right? We can't all be spenders. We will be responsible and we will have no future. The Bible says that a righteous man leaves an inheritance for his children's children, right? So we can't just all spend everything we get. But on the flip side too, we can't save everything. Now we are going to have a life now and enjoy it. Hello. So savers are important. Spenders are equally as important. So in case your spouse is different from you on a basic level, that's okay. If you have a spouse that grew up in deprivation, now because he or she suffered so much, now they want to buy everything they see because it's literally like a child in a candy shop. They cannot resist. Honor the fact that their upbringing was different from you. They do have to be trained. A human being is not born knowing how to handle money. Money sense and proper money mindset actually has to be learned. This is why we are doing this. So don't beat yourself up. If your spouse is different, that's absolutely okay. Know who they are and honor their differences. Okay, this is how we stop fighting too much. Please. Okay. Next, focus on stewardship. Now, let me stop here. There's something I want to mention. I think I taught a more elaborate class 2 weeks ago or so, and then I said something very powerful that all money fights, all fighting in money, fighting of money, right? Fighting on the issue of money in marriage or in any way comes from four different reasons. Hold on to this. Four things, one or a combination of these four things will make you fight about money. Number one, ignorance. You just don't understand. This is what happens when people put their money in Ponzi schemes, get rich quick schemes. Number one is ignorance. Number two is greed. Yes. Number three is selfishness. And number four, which I really, really hate, is indiscipline. People are either ignorant about money, they are greedy, they are selfish, or they are indisciplined. One a combination of these four things will be the cause of fights in your marriage. Yes. It's not your village which is like you think. One of four things is causing issues in your marriage, is causing money fights. There's either ignorance, there's greed, there's selfishness, or there is indiscipline. So let me move to number 5. Focus on stewardship. In actual sense, you don't own any of it. Hey, it's not your own. Do you know how much money? Do you see anybody that left this planet with their net worths? That as the person was dying, I say, he has $500 billion. Let's put it in his coffin. You see, we are all passerbys, and every happy new year, every good morning is one more day less for you to stay on this planet. You are just passing through. This is why you should stop fighting money and say, hey, or feeling special. You're just a steward. Ultimately, money belongs to God. So now I'm hitting at the mindset. This is how we stop. Do you know how much money I make? Do you know I mean? It's not yours. You're only a steward, a custodian. Because what if you didn't wake up this morning? What if you did not wake up this morning? Let me ask you, what would you have done with your 500 million in your account? If you did, you have to wake up, right? So you have to embrace the idea of being a steward. It all belongs to God. You're only here for a short time where you will be privileged to be a custodian of some of these resources. Please stop fighting your spouse for what you're not carrying where you're going. Yes. Embrace the mindset of stewardship. Okay? So this is how I'm attacking the one of greed. I told about greed. This is how I'll be. So the mindset of greed. I taught 4 things: ignorance, greed, selfishness, and indiscipline. So focus on being a steward. Don't be selfish. This attack. Don't be selfish. And how do you break selfishness? You understand that it never belonged to you anyway. This me, my money is my money. I hide it from my spouse. It's because you don't understand. If you don't wake up tomorrow morning, it's all gone. You and I don't have the power to wake up ourselves anyway. The sooner we humble ourselves under the mighty hand of God and understand that it all belongs to Him. It's only ours for a season. We'll be okay. Number 6, focus on generosity and abundance, not scarcity. Very important. Remember what I said about selfishness and greed. This is why I'm attacking them. Number 1 was focus on being a steward, not selfish. Me, myself, and me. Then focus on being generous. Focus on having an abundance mindset. I was at a money masterclass in October, and one of the things that the coach said was this. He said that nature is abundantly generous. For example, the average man who wants to have children, have 3, maybe 4 children in his lifetime. Yet, every day, his body produces millions of sperm cells. Is that not amazing? Literally, he doesn't even use 0.0000001% of his production capacity. Do you understand? So if there's abundance, stop holding on. Okay? Don't be greedy because you think, let me hold this one I've seen. This is what we do in marriage. Abundance and generosity. Okay, let's go. Make money. You have to be productive. This is not a business class. You're going to have to find a business class. But there has to be inflow into what they call it, into the family, because when money is not coming in, everybody's a little more agitated with what we're going through with inflation at an all-time high. I haven't seen inflation this high in my lifetime. Or maybe yes, I don't think I have seen inflation this high. I think we're officially about 21 or 22%. It's really, prices are astronomical. You need money coming in. If money is not coming in, please go and humble yourself, sit with a business coach, and lay your finances on the table. This is what's happening for us now. What can we do to make it better? And you'll be shocked what you will find out. Okay, So what I tell the issue of ignorance. So making money can make finding out ways to make money can also actually cure the matters of ignorance. Now focusing on stewardship will cure selfishness. Greed will be cured by focusing on abundance and generosity instead of scarcity mindsets. Now, this is my personal pet peeve. Um, you try your best to live a decluttered life. As a husband, as a wife, teach your children. Your house should not be cluttered. Why do I say this? When your living space is cluttered, it affects your mind and your tendencies to make poor or bad money choices go up. See, when everything is, my mother would say, hara, hara, everywhere is just scattered. You are the one that's going to do impulsive buying, impulsive spending. They just come. There's one new investment scheme, 27% every two weeks. You to just jump inside because your space is scattered, your mind is scattered, and these things are possible. Children can learn. I have 3 young children, really young children. I teach them and reinforce it. We do not live clutter. It's a way we show that we honor ourselves by keeping our living space clean. Is a way of showing that we honor ourselves. Do you understand? We have respect for ourselves. Okay. Then let me move on to number 9. You need to plan. Yes, you need to plan. Jesus said that before you build, you have to sit down and count the cost, right? Because if you don't count the cost, you will not be able to finish. Then people will gather to laugh at you. They will say, "Look at this man. He started to build but could not finish." I encourage you, please don't budget separately. Run your home like a business, like the same way your business has different product lines. You work for a company that they have production, they have manufacturing, they have sales, they have accounting, they have HR. Okay, run your business like a sale, run your family like a business. Stop keeping separate finance. I don't know how to see the division line will be there. You will struggle. Now, there are different methodologies to how you want to run a family finance. One thing I can tell you, if there's no transparency, you're on the long thing. Yes. What I like to say, and I don't know where I heard this, is that the level of intimacy in your marriage will always rise to meet your level of honesty. If you have pockets, if there are issues in your marriage, then go get help and counseling for them. But all this hiding of money, you will have a marriage, but it will not be a great one. Yes, let me tell you. You need to sit at the end of the month, beginning of the year, going to 2023, and say, what do we have? How do we want to plan? Please plan together. The popular 50, 30, 20 rule is there. 50% for your bills, for your needs, 30% for the wants, the things you would like to get, and 20% to save and invest. Okay, please plan and budget. Unfortunately, I have a very short time. I can't talk about making a family budget, but there are thousands of resources online. Sit with your spouse, talk about money. Money will not bite you. Please talk about it. Okay. Next, set goals. Set goals. Because when you don't have a goal of where you're going to, you wouldn't know when you get there. It helps you to work together as a family, as a couple. Now, you can set goals for different things, but these are the popular ones. You can set a savings goals. For example, you can say in 2023, we want to save 10 million. Let's say it's within your capacity to save 10 million. We want to save 10 million. Okay. And then you don't set arbitrary goals about saying how we put aside every month, every week, and whatever works for you. What do we need to do to restructure our family business so we can be able to get to our savings goal. Number 2, you can have a goal for investments, because you can't just keep money in the bank. You need to be invest in stock, in real estate, whatever it is. There are different instruments, but just decide what works for your family. It's not an investment class, it's a financial behavior class. You have a goal for savings, for investment. You have a goal for giving. I'll talk about giving. See, you see that greed, generosity breaks the backbone of greed. There's a scripture that was talking about tithe in the Old Testament. He said that the reason why you tithe is so that you will remember that it is God that brought you to where you are. Greed, don't be greedy. Give. Have a plan for what you want to give. If you're Christian like me give in church, give to family, give to charity, give to whoever. But you have to be giving as a family. All this sneaking under the table. You have a giving target. In 2023, you want to give out 5 million. Yes. Have a plan of what you want to give. You can set a goal for your net worth. You can set a net worth goal. Oh, all our property, home and abroad, can't tell the TV, everything you have is worth only 2 million. Let us try and double it this next year because our income has increased. Let us, at the end of 2023, let our net worth be 4 million. Net worth means what you own, everything you own. So, whether they be assets like land, like stock, like whatever, if you have and the physical property in your house, like cars and all that, you just have an idea what it's worth, put it together. Then what are you owing? If you have a debt, a loan, you minus what you owe, your basic, from what you own. That is your net worth. So you can decide to have a goal for your net worth. I said four things: savings, investments, giving, and net worth are the popular things to set goals for. But sit together and set goals. It gives you purpose, gives you direction as a couple. Stop running haphazard, okay? Hope I'm not out of time, oh. I hope not. Okay. Next, save. On your budget, what I told you, you can do the 80, 30, 20%. There has to be a column for saving. Every couple, remember I said about financial pressure, must have an emergency fund. An emergency fund is money that your family can live on comfortably as you currently live. Experts say for 3 to 6 months if something happened to your job, your business, or your livelihood was affected. Caveat: if you live in Nigeria like me, that statement does not apply to you. this is not in this Nigeria. If you live on that place, that's good. But if you're in Nigeria, we don't have any obodo place where you can go and deliver pizza for 2 hours after work to get extra money. So the transition in Nigeria on the African continent is harder. Please, if you are a married couple, start planning to save and put away your emergency fund. Have at least 12 months of living expenses saved. This means that look at what your family spends in a month, which means you have to be planned. You have to know what your family spends in a month. Use a Google spreadsheet, use a note. What you have to know, it can't be arbitrary figures. Do you understand? So let's say you have your husband, wife, and one child. I don't know. Let's say you spend 150,000 naira, right, in a month on your basic living expenses, transportation, and everything, food. You need to have 50. That's 150 times 12, which is 1.8 million in your emergency fund. Yes. 100% yes. Adjust as your income and your livelihood increases. I'm saying things because emergencies happen. Jesus told a story. He said that a man built his house on the rock and on the sand. So you have an emergency fund doesn't mean you don't have faith. Because Jesus said when the storm came, not if the storm come. And sometimes something can happen. Your child can need an emergency surgery. Something can happen. Your car can get accidented and it's unrepairable. You need to get a new mode of transportation. Please have an emergency fund. Don't always be the one who is confused when there's an emergency. It is so important. I recommend 12 months for those who live on the African continent. You can do 3 to 6 months if you live somewhere else, or it's easy for you to switch careers or pick up what's the job? What's the thing they call when you work? Moonlighting job. I think it's moonlighting. One fancy word anyway. Okay, so that's about saving. Put aside money, your emergency fund. If you live in country, a good place to park it would be a money market account. It's probably somewhere about between 11 and 12%. It's below inflation. That's why you should hide. You want investment. It needs to be money that's easily reachable. Okay. Then next, invest wisely. Too many couples, because they're not planning together, or they're just ignorant, have lost so much money. And I sympathize with you. But before you start an investment journey, the primary thing to do is to get educated. Actually learn what an investment is. There is a book. I'm thinking of whether I can see it on my shelf. I think my husband has probably grabbed it. It's called, I think, Money Master the Game by Tony Robbins. There's another one I'm looking at. It's called The Millionaire Mind. I should have grabbed it before before so I could show you. So there are a couple of books I can start with. Number one is Psychology of Money, Morgan Housel. Number two is The Millionaire Mind by Thomas Stanley. Number three is a big book, was what to read, by Tony Robbins. Is called Money Master the Game. Then if you're not, you're like, Chuck, I don't know how to read books. There's somebody on Facebook. Don't worry, I'm not marketing. I'm just telling you what has worked for me. Simple. I'm not a finance professional. There's somebody whose investment class I've taken, and I think he does a phenomenal work. His name is Tinosa Omorige. You can find him on Facebook. Maybe send him a DM. It's a paid class, but it is worth it. You and your spouse go and learn. Stop carrying shoulder up. Go and learn what investment is so that you will not lose money. You lost money in 2021. That's 2022. Don't lose again. It's okay. Don't throw away your money. Okay. Then last but not least, number 13, very important. This keeps you and your spouse together. Remember that money is not the true asset. The true asset is people. Because if they give you $100 billion now and leave only you on the planet, it will be useless to you. Who will give you the goods and services? Who will you buy from? You will turn the money to firewood now. You burn it for heat. Money is only useful if you have people. So treat your spouse and your family and those you love with a dignity, because they are the true assets. You're not special because you have more money. You are not. If you had a stroke today, your money cannot leave Bank of America or Zenith Bank and come to the hospital and mop your brow. It cannot. Your money cannot do physiotherapy for you. So I counsel you to get your priorities right. This is extremely important. This is the foundation. Remember that money is important, but people matter more. It's always more about people. Remember, when you treat your spouse, you treat your children, you treat your loved ones, your friends, remember what is truly important is people. Okay, so I've said 13 things. Number one, I said marriage is for teamwork. Don't let one divide you. Number two, money is a tool. It's a good servant and not a good master. Don't make it your master. Number three, know your money mindset. Okay, very important. Number four, honor your personality differences. Your spouse is different, and that's okay. Number five, focus on stewardship. You are not the owner. You are just passing through. It all belongs ultimately to God. Number five, focus on generosity and abundance and not scarcity. Number six, please make money. You're going to need some influence. Number seven, declutter your space. Clutters your mind. And then what happens? Bad money decisions. Okay, next, plan and budget together. Next, set goals. Set goals for your savings, for your investments, for your giving, for your net worth. Those are my suggestions. And then remember to save. Remember, you need an emergency fund. I suggest 12 months if you're married and have a family, especially if you live on the African continent. This is very important. Next, invest wisely. Learn. I suggested a couple of books. I suggested a Facebook person I know who's a finance advisor who gives great investment courses. It's a paid course. It's absolutely worth it. And finally, remember the people in your life, your spouse, your children, your siblings, your parents will always be more important than money. Okay? Thank you so much for listening. It's a wrap
Wow.
from me.
Wow. People just start sharing Chaka emojis of love. Like, oh my goodness, Chaka, see. Can you see my note?
I see.
My note is filled. Like, I just don't want this session to finish. My goodness. You know, I am this your session is a full masterclass already, you know, because I know I have realized that many times working with parents, especially parents of young children, that's my jurisdiction. There's this fight of my husband does not agree this, my wife will not agree this and that. There's never a compromise. There's never a middle ground, you know. And when I dig deeper, I get to realize that finance is one of the major issues, you know. There's so much secrecy around our finances, you know. Everybody has his own secret, this popular saying of women especially, The man's money is my money. And then your own money,
Ma-
no, your own money is your money. The man's money is our money. I don't know how
our
we came
money.
about it. I don't know how we came about it. But those things are the things that have actually disrupted so many things in our marriages. And even, when you said something about your money mindset, I was like, wow, because this is one of the mindsets that has caused lots and lots of damages in our
Problems.
marriages at home. So many problems. So we cannot parent effectively if we do not have work as a force around the major issues of our marriage. There's no parenting if the marriage is not working. And I
That's
know
true.
that finance, communication is one of those powerful um, forces around marriage. So there's no point
Mm.
talking about that. You will always not find a middle ground. My husband doesn't allow my children. I will say this, and they will not say no, 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 not in this house. All of those fights is because our marriages are not yet working. So
Yes.
it starts from a stable marriage. The parenting will come easy.
Mm.
The parenting will come easy. But this, our marriages are shaky everywhere. So
Mm.
there's no way our parenting, can be a collaborative one. There's no effective parenting if the marriage is not stable. So thank you so much for, sharing this insight. In fact,
Thank
this
you
is
for
already a
having me.
masterclass. My note is full. But the parents in our program, in our annual program, the Build Your Home Tribe, they will have you again and again to break many of these things down, because the essence of all that we are doing is to build our homes, build ourselves, build our children. The essence of learning is growth. If you're not
Mm.
growing, what are you learning?
Mm.
So we're going to be calling you again and again to do this with us. You consistently said this is not a financial business class. This is not, but you have just done a holistic thing, and I know that everybody that is here, everybody is raving you powerful. Someone has already joined me in calling you a powerhouse. That's a good one. Thank you so much.
Thank you
But
so
you have
much for
a
having me.
question, Chiaka. Please
Okay.
um take this question so you can I don't know if you can see the screen, or I
What
should
should
read
you
out.
do when your spouse is not bringing any money?
Okay.
Hmm. So this is not a broad enough question. So your spouse may not be bringing money because he or she is not financially empowered. Now, they may not be financially empowered because number one, they are lazy, or number two, they just are trying but has not worked out. Then, so the question is why? Is this spouse financially empowered and just refusing to bring money? Or is this spouse not financially empowered? Those are two different things. So the challenge with the question, I don't know. If the spouse is financially empowered, for example, he or she has money but is watching you be stressed, then it's a good thing. It's a good time to set boundaries. We don't like to talk about boundaries because we are well behaved people, but you have to have boundaries. So if a spouse is not financially empowered, let's say, and sorry, financially empowered is not bringing money. You have a house rent to pay of 500K, and you say to him, please, can we have a conversation? Remember to be cautious because how you treat people is a statement of who you are. Because we always give excuses for why we can yell, we can shout, we can misbehave, we can talk to our spouses and abuse them. Like, you don't know what he did. No. If you are abusive, you are an abusive person, irrelevant of irrespective of what they did. So the way we also approach our spouses, how you speak to her, how you speak to him with honor, is a statement of your value system. The challenge we have is that many spouses are trying to speak in just to they are trying to fix their spouse when they themselves are broken. Okay, in some other place. So, for example, if your house rent or your children's school fees, let's use children, is 500K, and you know your spouse can bring this money, you can say that, please, going forward, because I'm financially stressed. Okay, let's have these Let's have the fee split into two ways. Note, this spouse is financially empowered, not the one that's not financially empowered. That's a different game. And I don't know if I can talk about that. You say, okay, let's be bringing. The person may agree or disagree. Then on the day to pay school fees, tell him that you have your half, oh, or ha, I have my half. I know you can bring the rest. Can you put it together? They don't answer you. Leave the children in the house. The problem with us, especially the woman asking this question, because I suspect it's a woman, and women know how to enable the bad behavior of men. When they have enabled it, they will now come to Facebook and say, what's going on? No. All the children will sit down in the house with all of us. They will harass you. When I'm going to the market, I'll pack up three of them and go and keep in your office for you. I'll knock on the office door. The security will come out. You say, wow, Mr. John is my husband. I came here with the three children. Oh, yeah, carry them. You will say, by the time you stay with the children for the first 2 days, the next day you bring out school fees. The problem is that we are not willing to set the boundaries. This is for a financially empowered spouse. Now, if a spouse is not financially empowered, why not? Are they trying? Do they not have the right knowledge? Then you don't need to help. You don't have the knowledge. Then this is where you now have things like mentorship. Who does your spouse respect? If you have married a man or woman who nobody can talk to, it's prayer that is your portion. You'll be praying. But if you are lucky or you have made a wise decision to marry somebody who can get counsel, then go and seek counsel together. How can I help and be financially empowered? But just saying my spouse is not bringing money is an open-ended question. Do they have money to bring? If yes, then draw a boundary line and enforce it. Things will change when you change. You can't keep picking up the bills with somebody who has money, who's being responsible. Carry all the children and go to our office and drop them. You won't bring money. Carry all for him. Drop it. Knock on the gate of the office. Hello, I'm here to see Mr. Sydney. These are his three children. They will be with him till afternoon. Carry your bag and go to market and go and buy crayfish. Come back in 4 hours. The next day, school fees will be paid. But we are not willing. Now, if it's not financially empowered, that's a different ball game. For somebody who is lazy, it's an attitudinal problem, and it can be very challenging. We need mentorship, we need coaching, we need a teachable spirit. If none of these are available, your last option is prayer. Yes. Anyway, that should always be in the game anyway, but I'm just saying. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you so much. This session is um, more of an eye opener for everyone listening here. We cannot, there's no one session that can give us everything.
No.
No one session, no two sessions. We need accountability. We need, like she said, coaching, mentoring, counseling, accountability that, sets a structure for you to be able to do all of the things you have learned. You need plan, you need goals. These are all tools for working our marriages. So, parents that are in the Build a Home Tribe will be having these conversations extensively. And that's why I encourage every parent, especially parents of young children, so that you don't have the damages that can, destroy a whole of all the intentionality or the good intentions you have. If you begin now to put into consideration, set your goals, set your plans, set your record straight, at some point you get stable.
Mm.
But if you just sit at um, walking in a circle, you keep walking that way. And that's the problem we have in this part of the world. We just, get into a thing and we want a result immediately. We don't
Mm.
like walking through a process. We don't submit ourselves to learning. And it's so unfortunate. I don't know why in this part of the world we just feel things we just work out. When we get to the bridge, we'll cross.
By
I
by God's
think
grace.
by God, thank you so much.
Thank you so
Thank
much
you
for
so
having
very
me.
much. For having
Thank you,
you
everyone.
again and again in uh, our tribe in the Build a Home Tribe, where you'll be coming to break down more of these things to help our stability in our family, in our marriages, and in our parenting. Thank you so much for
All
doing
right.
it
Let me
for
say
us.
good
God
night.
bless. Good
Thank you.
night. So, people, we've come to the end of the second session. And so, conclusively, I will be talking on parenting and timing. Parenting and timing. Chaka have said many of the things that I also have in my session. But on a conclusive note in parenting and timing, because our time was not meant to exceed 9 p.m., but we are going to be taking one more 10 minutes to round up this session. Let me start by saying that life is measured in time, and time is measured in calendar days. So, life is measured in time does not mean that time can change anything. Time cannot change anything for you. You know, the passage of time on its own cannot change anything for you. Maximizing the season is what changes things. Maximizing the season of life where you are, maximizing the time that you have is what changes things. But we have this culture, I don't know how we came about it, but we all grew up hearing people say with time. But I have sat on it, thought of it, and I've realized that time on its own does not change anything. So if you think that with time this will be put in place, this will be put in place, you will be so frustrated with the results you will get. You will be so frustrated because time on its own doesn't change anything. Why do we call people to be part of the Build Your Home Tribe? We have an accountability system that I like to call intelligence system. Intelligence system in the sense that we have not realized that we are running as a stopover generation. You know, we are in between the old generation of our parents, 60, 70, 80s. These are the ones, um, by the number of, by numbers, they are the ones that we can call that are already living. We that are between the ages of 30 and 50, 59 are the people that are just in between. You know, we can at best become catalysts to spur up the changes, to spur up, the impact that will come. So the impact and the changes that we are spurring does not lie on our head. It lies on the generation of the children we're raising. You know, very recently, I started making research on the impact that comes after each 500 years. And I started from 1517 to 2017. That's 500 years. That's where we had Martin Luther King, who introduced democracy like we have it today, and all of the things that happened at each 500 years. And I realized that we have started another phase from 2017, another 500 years of impact. We are the ones that are raising the children that this role lies on their head. The highest or the oldest millennial, or the Gen Zers, are like we call them now, is between 28 and 29 to zero age that we have. And so the Gen Zers are the ones that will bring the required change and the required impact. And the only way we can empower them to do this is when we ourselves are power parents. Power parents in the sense that we are equipped, we are focused on building them, on equipping them, and then giving them power to impact their world. But unfortunately, what we have is we still have in this part of the world, in the African continent, in the Nigerian palace, my parents keep saying, "This is not the way we were raised. I cannot do all these ones. I cannot do this. I cannot do that." The way you were raised in your time as the millennium, if you raise your child like that, you would do your child a disservice. You would destroy that child because every generation have an assignment and a role that they play in their own generation. So the stopover parents, like I call us, is literally the parents that are being equipped now. And if you do not plan, commit yourself to processes that empower you to empower your children, you will do a lot of damages and disservice to your children. Many of us are parents who say or who put in all the effort in raising children academically. It is fine. But academics alone cannot help any child in the Gen Zers that we are raising today, the digital natives that we are raising, to thrive. Please find a place in your mind or in your heart to believe this. Find a place in your heart to believe this. Because we are raising digital natives, and if you make your research, you will find out that jobs that we have today are where the professions and the careers that we know today, 80-90% of them are not going to be existing in the time of our children, the next 10 years, in the next 20 years, and all of that. So, how do you help your children become impactful and relevant to their world if you do not start today to empower yourself? And that's why the Build Your Home Tribe, I call it a system of intelligence. Because we need to build intelligence system that empowers us to be able to empower our children. Because the only way to, how do I put it? The only way to continue to have power is to give out power. The only way to continue to have the relevance and take the role of being powerful is to give power. So if you are not in a place where you're thinking of the next generation, you're just being ambitious. If you're not thinking the children we are raising, how are they going to impact their world? You're just being ambitious. And you're not the selfish ambitious or ambition, unfortunately. And that's where goal comes in. What is your parenting goal? How have you structured this parenting goal? The problem is not having a goal. The problem is ability to build these goals to become, broken in bits and pieces such that it becomes a day-to-day life. That's what we do in the Build Your Home Tribe. The first thing we hit in the Build Your Home Tribe is the family constitution, where we create the parenting vision, the parenting goals, and the parenting plan. Like Shaka said, using the biblical passage of Luke 26, you cannot start a project and you have not sat down to think about it. What will it cost me to do this? What will it cost me to do this? So the entire life of your child is to be broken in goals. You have a child that is throwing tantrum, a child that cannot control his emotion. These are all the things that will destroy that child, no matter how academically intelligent he is. Of course, we all know that IQ is no longer in trend. Among all the skills that our children need, problem solving, executive functioning skills, name them, IQ is no longer in the trend. And so, if you understand that, you will know that you are the one to be equipped to do all of the assignments. Like the first person who spoke on purpose said, you are the one bridging the gap now, and then observing, learning, understanding the child before you. That's the only way you can be able to, learn who you are. Many of us do not know who we are raising. And it is until we get to that understanding of Who am I raising? Who is this child? We have courses and modules in the Be the Home Tribe where we break these things down. Who am I raising? There are books that we're going to be reading that are giving us insight, to further the conversations of all the things that we do in the Build Your Home Tribe. And so, if you don't understand the child you're raising, you will never be able to help that child live purposefully, live impactfully, and create his own or her own quota in her generation and his generation. So what we do in the Build a Home Tribe is to set these goals, you know, and work with these goals in different aspects of life, academics, gifts, talents, spirituality, all of the areas of our life. And then we will have tools that we share that help us, look holistically and to be able to achieve these goals. There's something I wrote here in my jotter. I said, overload of information that is not properly processed is the reason why many of us cannot execute our plan. It's not because we are lazy. It's because we have information we cannot properly process. Here and there, we live in a digital online is there. You just get information everywhere, and you cannot process it. That's why you need a community of people who are focused like you are to be able to process the information you are getting. I tell the parents of the Good Home Side, what we are learning is not good parenting. We are learning things that are helping us create a system around our life, a structure around our family and our children's life. So you need to understand that you're on a journey of process, and until you submit yourself to this process, you may never be able to achieve. So if you're saying with time, we understand, we grow, we learn, you're making a big mistake because time in itself does not change anything. Your baby of 2 months today, in the next 10 years will be 10. And anything you did not do between 0 to 10, you're going to struggle to be able to do it in your child's life. You're going to struggle to be able to impact that in your child's life. Not that it's not, the child will not be able to learn or the child is not possible to teach at that time, no, but it's going to be a double work for you. That's why I'm passionate about parents and upcoming parents who are serious with equipping themselves, with submitting themselves to the processes that help them become the powerhouse themselves. You need to become powerful to be able to give power to your child. That's the only way you can remain relevant. So, if you have enjoyed this session, please share with your friends, share with your family, all the things that I have also enjoyed. When Chaka was giving her session, I wrote so much. And so we are all learning, to grow. Because if you're not growing, you're not learning. The essence of learning, growth. If you have learned and you have been impacted, share this with everyone around you. Share this, let others also benefit from this. You may be helping a family, you may be saving a family, from the next mistake that they are about to make. And that's why I encourage them. Join the Build Your Home Tribe. It's a system, it's an intelligence system, it's a structure. And we get in here for the next 1 year, building ourselves, working with our children on different areas of life, trying to see holistically how to help our children. Very recently I was talking with a parent who was asking me about what legacy was all about. And I simply told him that if you are thinking to bequeath anything meaningful to your children and the next generation, then you need to worry critically on how you're raising them. The highest legacy you can give them is the investment you have put in them, not you ones you bought for them and the ones you spent for them. but the investment that you have made in them. And that can only be feasible if you have invested in yourself. But one of the things I realize that is the problem why we many times do not understand these things is because our priorities are wrong. Our values are also wrong. And that's why you see, many people who will tell you this is not our value, this is wrong. But you see them in circles of people who are saying or doing things opposite of what they say is their value. Today we live in a media world where people come up with anything on social media, and you see people keying in, jumping up and down, following them, and yet you say that your value is this, your value is that, and then you still find yourself in the midst of people who are not going to be giving you valuable impact that will resonate with who you say you are. So it is important we understand all of these things and begin to set our priorities right. Set your priorities right. The baby you have today, like I said, 2 months, 3 months, in 10 months time, 10 years time will be 10. In 15 years time will be 15. If you are not maximizing your time now that your children are young, you're going to be making a lot of the service or doing a lot of the service to those children. So if you're thinking to bequeath legacy, if you're thinking to create something that lives beyond you, your children, your grandchildren, then you should be thinking critically how you're raising your children to do. Is it the way we shut our children down and we think that that same voice is the voice they can use to become a voice in their time? It's not possible. We yell and shout and make all manner of things and just, go to school and all of that. We're not looking at the morality of our children. We're not looking at diverse areas of their life that makes them a complete human. Sometime last week, I was discussing with a classmate of mine, and I said, I realized that our mates are all, getting in their late 30s, turning 40s. Our classmates, are now getting in their late 30s and turning 40s. And I'm wondering, all these years of our turning 40s, late 30s, 30s, all that, what exactly have we impacted in our world? Because it wasn't about raising a child who will be impactful. That's what a holistic child is all about. Not the titles and the statues that we just give ourselves and give and push our children and all of that. No, 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 no. You can have all those statues and still hide forever. That is because you were not also given a voice to be a voice that should be heard. And it comes from parenting, it comes from childhood. You know, a child that was shot in home will be shot outside. If you read my book, Life Begins from Childhood, I broke down many of those things down. So if you're still listening to me and you're asking, how do we get into this system that you're talking about? Please send us a direct chat. Let me see. Um, if the information are here. Okay, you can send us a direct chat on WhatsApp. We give you details on how to be part of the Build Your Home Tribe. Um, our program starts January 7th, but the induction of the parents will be on the 29th of December 2022. So you can get into the system as soon as possible. You will be glad that you did because you'll be doing your children and your parenting a lot of um, advantage. You'll be giving your children a parental advantage. You'll be glad you did because you'll be equipped for what is ahead of us. Many of us have not realized what is ahead of us, and what is ahead of the generation of children that we are raising now. And that's why we are just wigging it and just trivializing it and just doing it anyhow. We can't afford to do it anyhow. It's no longer about intuition and experiences. It's about the level of knowledge you have about what is required in the job, the role that you need to play now in the life of your children. So thank you everybody that took out their time to be in this session. If you got value in this session, let me see your emoji of love. Say that you got value, 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 value in this session. Thank you so much for being here. If you have not subscribed, subscribe to this channel and share this video with everybody that is in your circle. Let every parent, um, okay, that's not let every parent and intending parent benefit from this so that they can also start looking at it holistically on what they need to do. So if you got value, let me see in the comment section, let me see that you got value. Say value, value, value. Send me love emojis. I love that love emoji. That's the highest thing you can do to the world. That's the highest thing you can do to anybody. Sending love. Very important. Very important. That's why our society is chaotic because we lack love. So thank you everyone. Um, we'll keep sharing on how to get into the tribe in our post community and other communities. YouTube community will be here back and better in 2023 by the grace of God. Do have an amazing night rest. God bless you.